Okay, so this is our presentation on Salty Paws, a case study in business. My name is Jaden Rendell.
And my name is Savannah Kidd.
So this is our agenda of everything we'll be talking about our Salty Paws background all the way to our conclusion.
So this is the background for Salty Paws. Wanda had a dog. She went to adopt a dog, and his name was Cosmo, and he was all bent out of shape. He was in horrible condition, and he had really irritated skin, and so all the treats that she could find just made him sick and made his conditions worse. So she set out to create dog treats for her dog that would make him feel a lot better. And this eventually turned into a business, which she now sells from her home and through Etsy. But she would like to take her business and move it to the next level. So what does a business look like? There are internal and external factors when you start this business. Salty Paws had a lot of different factors going into it. For example, for internal, Wanda had her brother-in-law who would help her with the company, her friends who were bakers who would help bake the treats, as well as monthly expenses like supplies that they needed to bake the treats, like ingredients, as well as packing supplies, the product supplier, how much these products would cost, and the products getting delivered to them, how much that would cost, as well as the cost of the items that they sold, the completed items, how much those would cost. And some external factors that Wanda needed to consider are the competitors, because there are other treat companies that want to compete with Wanda's business and take her business from her. And then there are the customers that come to Wanda or the competitors looking to buy dog treats. And then the government, especially the laws in North Carolina, which is where Wanda is based, and the laws that she needs to follow in order to sell dog treats, as well as outside of the business. So where she's located, where the customers are coming from. All of these factors determine how successful her business will be.
So in every business, there is going to be a supply and demand. So right now, Wanda is currently charging $125 for her chicken cuties, $175 for bison bites. Her lamb levies cost $22, and her party pooch costs $20, which consists of all three of those types of treats. So right now, the equilibrium price, which is where the supplier, which is Wanda, and the customers are both going to be happy with where the supply and the demand are at. Right now, that is actually correct for $125 and $20 for the chicken cuties and the party pooch. Now, the equilibrium price for the lamb levies is actually at $238 right now, which means her product is actually underpriced. So if she did go up on the price, the demand would still be high enough for her treats. Now, the bison bites equilibrium price is at 168, and she's currently charging 175, so she could actually lower the price, and this would be more beneficial for people to buy them because the demand would be higher.
So to expand to a market, instead of just North Carolina, Wanda wants to expand to a market all over the world. She wants to sell her products online all across the world, and she wants to find out how she can do this. So to make more money, she would need this large expansion. But she can't expand her company with just a couple friends. She needs to hire employees and increase the supplies that she has in order to meet the demand. She also needs to research how dog treats perform in other countries. Are some countries big on keeping dogs as pets? Are other countries, do they like cats instead? Wanda needs to take this research into account and decide that which places would be best for her to sell her dog treats and how she needs to advertise these treats to fit the market in every place she sells her dog treats.
So, Wanda is concerned on getting a loan to expand her business, and she doesn't really know much about the monetary system. So, the monetary system starts with the Federal Reserve because they put out money into circulation in order to avoid any type of inflation. So there's four different types of financial institutions, including commercial banks, saving and loan associations, credit unions, and non-banks. So her first option would be to get a loan from a commercial bank, and that's typically good for people because they have such a low interest rates. And it is also beneficial because she's able to take a long-term loan where she can slowly pay it back. Now, a drawback is she does have to have good credit, and she also has to have an extensive background check. She might have to also put out collateral. So if she, for some reason, doesn't pay back the loan, if her business isn't successful, she will lose whatever she puts up for collateral. Now, a SBA 7A loan is another option for her, and that is from the Small Business Association. And this is specifically geared towards small businesses, and she can specifically gear this loan towards whatever she wants. So she could go towards specifically real estate. The interest rates aren't as good as a commercial bank, but she would be able to use this specifically for her business because that's what it's geared towards. Now, the same thing is she might have to put up collateral for her loan, and she does also have to have more background checks. Now, a term loan is another option from a credit union, and a term loan is also great because she can have a specific repayment schedule that she has to keep track to very well. So one problem with the credit union is she might have to have a be a member of the credit union, and the interest rates are also good for this as well. But ultimately, I recommend doing the 7BA SBA 7A loan because it's specifically geared towards what she is trying to go for as a small business owner.
So, legal environment. All her products that she sells needs to make sure that they follow the state, North Carolina's health regulations, as well as the federal health regulations to make sure the dogs that she gives treats to do not get sick. Because if they get sick, then the owners of these dogs may come to Wanda with a lawsuit, or they may come to Wanda with poor reviews, and this will absolutely tank her company and it will give her company a bad name. She'll need to make sure she is following the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which you often hear about in human food, but this also applies to dog food. Any food needs to be approved under the Food and Drug Administration to assure that it is safe for consumption, whether by humans or by animals, just to make sure that no dog gets sick.
So another thing that Wanda is concerned with is her products and how they are priced. She's worried since she's using such wholesome ingredients and they are very more expensive because of how good they are. Now this is a issue of business ethics because she doesn't want to have to tell them. And business ethics are standards of behavior that are deemed right or wrong in a business association. Now, it does make sense that changing ingredients can be cost effective, and this could be good for her business if they remain ethical. But the customers need to be aware of the change or it's false advertising. So it has to fit the company's advertising that she currently has. So she can change the ingredients, but they have to fit what she has already stated, or she has to tell them. Because the animals are still alive and they need to be cared for with this respect. She does still have to follow the FDA's regulations, and that applies to animals and not just humans.
So Wanda has a few options for business ownership and how she wants to tackle her business. There are four that I selected, the four main ones, which is sole proprietorship, corporations, a partnership, and LLC, which is a limited liability company. And I figured that the best option for Wanda would be to run a sole proprietorship because she's already doing this. She runs her dog food business or her dog treat business online on Etsy by herself with a few friends and her brother-in-law, of course. But she's the one who started this company and she's the one who should be in control of this company. If she starts, say, a partnership, then she would have another side, another management that could possibly take this freedom to run this company by herself away from her. And while the help is nice to have, and it's nice to have other managers, Wanda would want to be in control of the work she produces, of the quality, because this is her idea and her company. So the advantages and disadvantages of the sole proprietorship that I selected includes you get, like I mentioned, full control over the company, and it's super easy to start your business. Wanda just made dog treats, and of course, she needed the money for the supplies, and she needed the money to post the listings on Etsy because there is a fee. But compared to other options, the sole proprietorship is much easier. The owner can have full profit, they can have full control, but this comes with costs because if the owner has full control, they're also liable for damages. If she was just an employee in a company and something went wrong, she wouldn't be liable for the damages, but since she's the owner of Salty Paws, she would be liable if dogs got sick. She would be liable if the ingredients on her package was wrong. She would be liable for any damages she caused or any poor reviews her company got. It's also difficult for sole proprietorships because there's only one owner to find potential employees because they may see one owner and go, oh, well, this company isn't very professional because there's just one person running this. How will they ever get anything done? So it might be hard for sole proprietorships to find any work, and the time that Wanda spends may be extremely long because she is the owner. She's the single owner, so she would spend a good chunk of her time at the company, day in, day out. She's always doing work all the time. So there's really no break. If she was an employee or had a partner, then she wouldn't have to do nearly as much work. But a sole proprietorship is, I believe, the best option because she would have full freedom.
The next problem that Wanda is going to have to face is that her mother is not supportive of her business ideas. She doesn't think that it would be a good place to start into her business, but I have something that I would disagree with because Wanda is ultimately an entrepreneur and she is very passionate of her business, and this is a great way to make money through something that she loves. Now, Wanda has great entrepreneurial skills. She is very good at time management. She's been able to organize all of her employees and she's been able to get everything out on time. And Wanda already has a great customer base through her Etsy site, and she does also have a website that people can come through to. And Wanda is also doing her part of researching what is important about her next step. She's researching taking out a loan and she's looking at all of the things that she can do to expand her business, which is extremely important.
So Wanda, as the owner, would have quite a few responsibilities in running her company, but because she would be hiring other people, all these responsibilities would be dealt out to others. Wanda would be a baker, she would work in administration, but then she'd have other employees, like an administration assistant or a baking assistant. She'd also have employees like a market manager or a bookkeeper or an e-commerce employee who can help her keep track of her in-store orders as well as her Etsy orders. Wanda has a lot of responsibilities as a sole proprietorship and an owner of this company. However, if she hires different people to help fill these spots, she won't be as stuck in doing all of these positions at once.
So Wanda's noticed that she's going to need a way to bring motivation to her employees to work hard for her. And she has noticed that one of her employees specifically loves to do things that help other people. But one way theory of motivation that she can look at is Herzberg's theory of motivation. So, this theory of motivation deals with satisfaction, and ultimately, employees want to feel like they are accomplished something while they're working, and they also want to feel recognized. So, they want to make sure that her employees feel like they are accomplishing something and that Wanda notices that they're working so hard. So, one option that she could go to is an Employee of the Month plaque. Now, this seems something very simple, but even just giving them a little plaque or a little piece of paper with their name on it, telling them how hard they worked, is a good way to show how amazing that they are and give them more motivation to work even harder towards the next time. And finally, she could give them a promotion. So if she does notice that an employee specifically is doing very well, if she decides to promote them or give them more tasks to do, they might feel more motivated because they've been recognized by giving them more tasks in a promotion.
So Wanda, because she's hiring all these employees, it's best for her to split her employees up into 3 separate teams to improve the productivity and just organization of her workplace. So she would have 3 teams. The first team is her baker team, which includes the full-time baker, and the 2 part-time assistant bakers that I previously mentioned. And then her sales team, which is the biggest team, includes it's actually the second biggest team, which includes the first full-time sales manager, the customer service representative, a part-time marketing manager, and the part-time tech support, which helps with online orders. And then the operation team, which is the biggest, has the administrative assistant, the 2 part-time retail clerks, the shipping clerk, and the bookkeeper, which keeps track of all of Wanda's documents for her.
So Wanda has been looking for a kitchen and she's actually met with a realtor to find a kitchen that can keep track of having more orders and she needs more space. So this is going to go from her working from her home to another area. So this has to deal with operating and managing her kitchen. So an operations management needs to work on planning, organizing, and supervising all operations that are done specifically in her kitchen. And she has many new things that she has to work on in order to organize her entire tasks. So now that she's going to have so many more employees in the kitchen, she needs to make sure they all have jobs to do. And she needs to make sure that those tasks are set in stone so that everybody knows what they're going to be doing. They all need to have their own stations and their own areas to work so that nobody gets confused and everything runs smoothly. Wanda also needs to make sure she has a plan and how many orders need to be done at once so that because storage will be a problem for her in the future if she doesn't plan out accordingly of everything that needs to be done. She also needs to make sure she knows how many treats need to be made and needs to make sure that her website is always up and running so that she knows that everything is up to date. So her main job is to supervise that all of the operations are running smoothly. So she needs to have a system of how much she's going to be checking in on her kitchen. And she also needs to make sure she obviously hires more employees to deal with everything that needs to be done in the kitchen.
So customers and marketing. The value statement I wrote for Wanda is only the best for your very best friend. This implies that Wanda's treats are not only the best tasting, but they're the highest quality possible and the safest for your pets to consume. This statement makes customers happy and they'll be satisfied with the product, and customers may read this statement and want to buy from you because they believe your product is best, avoiding the competitors that will steal Wanda's competition.
So another thing is the 4 P's of marketing, which includes the product, the price, the place, and the promotion. So currently, Wanda is selling 3 different types of treats, and one of them also has an option of the party pooch, which is all 3 of them put together. So right now, she is using her website, but it ultimately directs the customer to Etsy to sell their goods, and she doesn't have any marketing being done right now. So the prices are currently set 2 at the equilibrium price, 1 below, and 1 above. So the first piece of advice that I would give her is she needs to add more product options so she could add more sizes for maybe smaller dogs or larger dogs so that she has a different assortment of treats. And she also needs to change her price to fit the equilibrium price so that they're all working the best between supply and demand so that customers are satisfied and she is satisfied. Another way to go is to get her website up and running so that everything can be done strictly through her website and not direct them to Etsy so that they're not seeing any other types of products. And for her promotion, it would be a great place to start at creating a social media site so that other people can see what amazing work she's doing and how happy she's making dogs in her area.
So Wanda had a plan to just hire mothers with children. And this won't work because it's illegal to discriminate against potential employees in all 50 states, including North Carolina. She must have a well thought out plan and not just, oh, I'll just hire a couple mothers with children. The EEOC law, or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission law, prevents any discrimination in North Carolina. And she would need a list of requirements employees would need to meet before she hires them. And she needs to hire other people. So, not just women with children, maybe teens in school, maybe the elderly who are just looking for a job. She needs to look at everyone as potential employees if they meet her requirements and not just mothers with children.
So Wanda has been looking at how her businesses has been performing and she realizes how much money she's actually losing to all the taxes she has to give away to the government. So she is wanting to keep two sets of books so that she doesn't have to pay as many taxes. Now this is unethical for many reasons. But first of all, this would be tax evasion, and you can get in a lot of trouble for tax evasion. You can be fined up to $100,000 or jailed up to 3 years. And just because she's a sole proprietor, it doesn't just hurt her, it hurts many other people. First of all, it hurts the economy and other taxpayers because it takes away money from people that are doing the correct thing, even if it is seem difficult. Now, it could hurt the economy because if there's multiple people not paying their taxes, that's more money that the US, where she lives, is going into debt. And this could ultimately cause inflation to try to counteract that, and which means all of her products could end up having to be higher priced anyway, and she could end up losing money.
So, Wanda would need a policy put in place for technology usage at her workplace because a big part of her work involves selling on Etsy and using emails to sell online. So, the policy I created is that technology must be used for primarily for professional use, but personal use is allowed so long as it doesn't affect how the employee completes work, if it violates any company's employment terms, or if it affects the company and the productivity. So, how fast they can produce their products and get their products out there to customers. And all individuals who use the technology, the emails, the internet as Salty Paws are responsible for their own actions, but they must make sure that they cannot harm Salty Paws with financial or legal issues with their actions. And sharing private information about Salty Paws that the owners have maybe told the employees or that a manager has told an employee is strictly prohibited. So, in conclusion, Wanda created a profitable dog treat business from home and will continue to be profitable if she expands and makes changes. She'll needs to make sure she's marketing her products correctly to different countries to make sure that the products fit that country. And then she'll need to hire a lot more employees and format the workspace in teams so it runs smoothly. She'll need to look over all laws and legal regulations to make sure that what she sells is safe for dogs. And then she needs to assure that her treats are completely safe and all of her ingredients are listed before selling them to her customers.